Who saw this coming? A top 20 matchup in Austin with TCU fighting for their college football playoff lives, Texas fighting for their Big 12 title lives, and arguably the biggest college football game of Week 11. Who saw this coming? Who could have predicted this? This game, guys, is going to be epic. Saturday night in Austin, top 20. A lot of stakes on the line here, guys. Potentially the first of maybe two meetings between TCU and Texas. And we are here to break down everything you need to know for this game and, of course, predict our official winner. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Ready to break down the Horned Frogs of TCU and the Longhorns of Texas. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and, of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the country over on our website, guys, beating over 80% of the national analysts and handicappers each of the last 4 years, over 81% on the money line, over 61% against the spread this year. You can't beat it, and you can't beat the prices. It's a year-long subscription. Go check it out. Don't waste your time. Go sign up for it today and start winning with us here at the Gridiron Expert as a part of our GE Nation. So let's dive into this game, guys. I mean, what a fun game this is going to be between TCU and Texas. These two teams, guys, have split the last 4 meetings. Texas winning last year 32-27. But prior to that, guys, prior to those last 4 years, TCU had won 4 straight. So TCU has done a pretty good job of dominating this series in recent years. Texas is hoping to change that on Saturday, maybe begin a little bit of a win streak of their own. And take a look at the offense, guys. We'll start with TCU, the road team. The Horned Frogs are just super balanced. That has clearly been the strength of the Horned Frogs this year. A major reason for their shocking success in 2022 is the offense. An offense that's averaging over 289 passing yards per game, an offense averaging nearly 220 rushing yards per game, and over 43 points per game, one of the best in the country. It all starts not just with the quarterback, but for me, the trio of playmakers for TCU. Yes, they have Max Duggan, who has thrown for over 2,400 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, has thrived in Sonny Dykes' system when he arrived in Fort Worth. Keep in mind, guys, this is his first year with the program. It's pretty unbelievable. So Max Duggan has done a phenomenal job. But then you've got their star running back in Kendre Miller. Over 1,000 rushing yards already on the season, plus 12 touchdowns to go along with that. And then Quentin Johnston, who kind of had a slow start to the season, kind of burst onto the scene in the Kansas game. We knew the potential that he had, but he finally burst onto the scene in the Kansas game, has over 650 reception yards and 4 touchdowns now on the year. And the thing that really impresses me the most about TCU is just their ability to score at any given moment. This offense, guys, is so explosive. TCU has 22 touchdowns of 25 yards or more. So they can score just like that. You think you pin them inside their own 5-yard line, you think they're going to go, well, no, Max Duggan's just going to dump a 95-yard bomb to Johnston and they're gone. Or Kendre Miller's going to burst off on an 80-yard scamper right after a touchback. I mean, that's how dangerous this offense is. You think you've got their backs up against the wall, and they're not. You blink and they've scored. TCU's the real deal offensively. But the same can be said for Texas, though. The Longhorns have a pretty dang good trio of their own. They've got Quinn Ewers, a star freshman quarterback who was injured earlier in the year but has looked great when he has been able to play, and he's been healthy for a while now. Over 1,300 yards in his first year with the Longhorns, 13 touchdowns and just 5 interceptions. They got a star running back of their own in Bijan Robinson, who has rushed for over 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns on the year. And then Xavier Worthy, 552 yards, 9 touchdowns, guys. So right there, I mean, that trio for Texas can match that of TCU. The Longhorns averaging over 250 passing yards per game, over 190 rushing yards per game. And you look at what they did last week against Kansas State, that impressive road victory over the Wildcats. They had 197 passing yards, 269 rushing yards. Balance is the key for Texas, guys. Balance is the key for the Longhorns. If they can keep Bijan Robinson pumping, and he rushed for over 200 yards last week against the Wildcats, and take a little bit of pressure off Quinn Ewers, a guy that we have seen has been able to deliver in the clutch, a guy that we have seen has a pretty dang good arm. If they can keep that balance going, they're about as tough to stop as anybody in the country. And you take a look at the defenses, guys, the question is, will TCU be able to stop that trio? Will Texas' defense be able to stop TCU's trio? A lot of questions coming into this game for both, and what should be a potentially high-scoring shootout in Austin. TCU, guys, defensively has not been that impressive. 26.9 points per game is what they're giving up. They're giving up 250 passing yards per game. And you look at the numbers in Big 12 play, excluding the Oklahoma game. What they allowed, 24 points in that game, pretty dang good. But obviously Dylan Gabriel was hurt in that game. And even if he had been healthy, TCU was going to win. So I don't want to take anything away from their victory. TCU had that game in the bag early. But obviously when your quarterback gets hurt, the numbers are going to be skewed a little bit. But TCU dominated. They weren't going to lose regardless. They allowed 31 points, guys, to Kansas. They allowed 40 to Oklahoma State, 28 to Kansas State, 31 to West Virginia. They've only held 3 of their opponents to under 28 points. Texas Tech, Tarleton, and Colorado. So actually scored more than 24 against Oklahoma. Oklahoma did. Texas Tech last week held them to 24 points. Tarleton out of the FCS, and Colorado, arguably the worst Power 5 program in the country. Those are the only teams that have scored less than 28 on TCU. What TCU has to do in this game, on the road, night game, what they have to do is they've got to be able to contain Bijan Robinson. Like we said, if you can take away the balance for Texas, it makes things a little bit more difficult for them. And even though they have home field advantage, putting all that pressure on Quinn Ewers is not something that Texas wants to do. They want to have that balance and allow him to take a little bit of load off his shoulder, a little pressure off of him. So what TCU needs to do is contain Bijan Robinson, guys. The Horned Frogs are giving up over 146 rushing yards per game, and in Big 12 play have struggled a little bit. 195 rushing yards to Texas Tech, 155 rushing yards to West Virginia, 158 to Kansas State, 141 to Oklahoma State, 189 to Kansas, 179 to Oklahoma. Obviously, TCU has won every single one of those games. But the rushing defense has not been all that great, and now Texas is going to throw at them one of the best running backs in the country. Can the Horned Frogs contain him and force Ewers to win the game solely through the air? Taking a look at Texas's defense, they haven't been phenomenal either, but statistically a little bit better than TCU. The Longhorns giving up just 21.8 points per game. The worst versus the pass, the Longhorns giving up 258 passing yards per game, but they're a little bit better versus the run than TCU, giving up just 123 rushing yards per game. Obviously, what Texas has to do is what we mentioned with TCU's offense, is they've got to limit the big plays. If you have this team backed up deep in their own territory, if you have them on second or third and long, you have to make sure that you are limiting the big plays for TCU. Again, 22 touchdowns of 25 yards or more for the Horned Frogs. Texas is not forcing that many turnovers, guys. And Duggan alone is not committing any either. Only 2 interceptions for Duggan. He's taking good care of the football. I don't expect Texas to maybe even win the turnover battle this one, unless they can get a strip sack off of him or Kendre Miller or somebody fumbles the football. But even then, Texas has only forced 10 turnovers, and they aren't pressuring the quarterback that well either, just 19 sacks on the year. So they've got to find a way to create a little bit more pressure on Duggan. They've got to find a way there. They've got to find a way to not get beat deep by him. Again, limiting those big plays, slowing down TCU's tempo, making them play Texas style, which is by no means slow, but obviously slowing the game down and letting Texas control the game and control the time of possession. That's how Texas wins against TCU on Saturday. That's what they have to do. So what is going to happen, guys? What is going to happen in Austin? I mean, top 20 showdown. The stakes are high. TCU is now the only shot for the Big 12 to get a team in the college football playoff. And if they lose this game to Texas, they're pretty much done. Texas guys are looking to play spoiler, and they're looking to keep their Big 12 title hopes alive. They want to win a championship. They want to be able to do that. Here's the thing. I think they keep those hopes alive, and I think TCU's playoff hopes end on Saturday night. We are picking the Longhorns right behind us there. TCU, guys, been a phenomenal story, and they are a phenomenal team. But I think their run ends this Saturday. I look at TCU, guys. They have been, again, a good team, but very fortunate. They trailed by 17 points to Oklahoma State, came back and won that game in overtime. They trailed by 18 points to Kansas State, came back and won that game, but then Kansas State, of course, riddled by injuries over the course of that game. They were only beating West Virginia by 3 with under 4 minutes left in the game. Yes, they won by 10. They scored on a 29-yard touchdown with 20 seconds left. West Virginia had jumped off sides. They jacked it up, got the touchdown. If they hadn't, they just would have run out the clock. 3-point victory. Regardless of win's a win, but still, West Virginia played them very close. They were trailing. TCU was trailing Texas Tech entering the fourth quarter before having a monster fourth quarter and ultimately winning that game by 10. 3 of those 4 games that we mentioned, guys, were also at home. West Virginia was the only road game. TCU really hasn't faced many tough road environments. Texas will be that. Texas is a good team. They are a tough place to play. And I believe Texas and the whole Longhorn fan base will be rocking on Saturday night, looking to play spoiler against TCU, looking to end their playoff run. And if TCU, guys, if they start slow, like they did against Oklahoma State, like they did against Kansas State, like they did a little bit for about 3/4 of the game against Texas Tech, if they do that in Austin, they don't stand a chance. They will not come back and win. And I'm not saying they are going to start slow, but I'm going to say they've been very fortunate. I think Texas, I think they start fast, they pop TCU in the mouth. TCU doesn't know what's going on early. It ends up being a dogfight towards the end, but the Texas defense comes through clutch when they need them the most. And the Longhorns survive, pull off a massive, massive upset. Despite being favored, a massive upset, and keep their Big 12 title hopes alive. So there you have it, guys. We are picking Texas to upset TCU on Saturday. Leave your comments and thoughts on this game below as we get ready for another fantastic weekend of college football. But until then, guys, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the entire country. Make sure you check them out. Sign up for those today. Don't miss out on some big-time winnings, beating out over 80% of the national analysts and handicappers each of the last 4 years. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.